Education Day game on Monday. Got a bunch of new faces this year. Go ahead, give us your outlook on the season.
Sure, we're excited. Anytime you roll around to November, it's basketball time, and we're looking forward to this new group and getting started with them. And we've had a couple of scrimmages the last 2 weeks, and very pleased with our progress so far, like how they're competing, like how they're playing together, and just kind of give us a different look from what we've been the last couple of years in terms of size and athleticism on the perimeter and at the four. And it'll be a lot of fun as we get kicked off because we're all going to need a roster to see who's out there with us. But it's been a lot of fun, a lot of teaching, but such great energy from this group, and it's been really good. Just a different newness about it, and I think that's what we're all getting used to in today's world of college athletics. We say this every year, that every year's a new year and every group has a different dynamic, whether you have last year 9 returners or you have 9 newcomers. It's a different year, and so I think they're excited about that. We've had great leadership from our returners and had some freshmen really step up and play well for us so far in scrimmages.
Brooke, what have you found in this new day and age where the roster turns over so much every year? What are some of the things that you guys have learned as a staff on how to get that chemistry going?
Yeah, I think it's hard. I think I'm a person of routine, and I like things to go. We script things and we like them to be a certain way. And I think now you've got to be more willing to adapt and adjust and do that without lowering your standards or your expectations. I think we've had to accelerate our level of communication earlier than what we've done in the past in terms of constantly having daily interactions with players one-on-one, whether it be position coaches or with me or strength coach or whatever it is, of just constantly communicating. These young people want feedback. They want that. Sometimes they don't like the feedback. Sometimes, but we're always going to be honest with where they stand. The one thing I love about this group is they respond to that. When you tell them what the standard is and what the expectation is, they find a way to meet it. And that's been really encouraging and exciting to see. But you just really have to be intentional about what you're doing every single day. Not that you weren't before, but I think there's so much more energy and focus put into that than maybe in years past.
So the point about the newcomers, obviously a big freshman class this year. Some of the standouts, Avery, Jordan, Perry. I mean, just who do you feel like is going to step up, I guess, in that younger group?
Yeah, we went and scrimmaged a team a couple of weeks ago that started 3 seniors and 2 juniors, and we rolled out 3 freshmen, and we won the scrimmage, and they competed really well. They've played at a high level on the club circuit or with their high school teams and have made deep runs or won state championships at their respective levels, but they know how to win, and it's been really fun to watch them compete. I think Paris has been one of our most consistent competitors in practice every single day. When you look at, we track winning in everything that we do, whether it's a 1v1, 2v2, 5v5, a shooting drill, whatever. When you win something, we're tracking that. I want to see who's impacting winning for our group, and she's been right there at the top of the leaderboard every week, and then our cumulative leaderboard. So it's been fun to watch her. I think she brings a different she's got great length on the perimeter. She can block a shot. She had a shot that she rejected on Monday night in a scrimmage that it was pretty impressive. And she may make a mistake. Like, the one thing about these young players is they're going to make plenty of mistakes, but they're athletic enough and they're skilled enough to recover and make a play, and that's what they do. And so we'll live through some mistakes and some growing pains early with some of them, but they're talented enough to overcome it in some ways that maybe we haven't been in the past.
You mentioned working through. How big was it just for the staff to see Gianna, I guess as a true freshman, and work through that and just kind of know that dynamic?
Huge. I always say the biggest jump is how they feel at the end of their freshman year to their sophomore year. You just feel confident. You feel comfortable. You know what to expect. You've been through it before. And Cam has done an incredible job with our group in the weight room. It's been such a boost for our program to have him, and how he's prepared our team, just their bodies and how strong they look right now. G has benefited greatly from that, and she doesn't look the way she did, last year coming in as a true freshman that hasn't been through a year cycle in the weight room, and what she was able to do in the off season, worked really hard in the spring. We spent a lot of time with those 4 returners of just working on some little things, and got some great one-on-one time with them this spring. And then as we got everybody here this summer, almost everybody here this summer, just seeing the carryover for that. But she just carries herself in a different way. Because she's been in the fire. She's experienced a full season of starting, and we threw her into it. I mean, you play the schedule we played last year as a true freshman point guard. You got to figure some things out the hard way, and I thought she handled it beautifully, just with poise and toughness. And she's a competitor, and we know what she's going to bring to the table every day.
Not only do you have a bunch of new players, but a lot of international players too. I mean, how has that been acclimating them to like the Louisiana Tech way of basketball?
Yeah, it's been great. Some are like, I always say this, but most of our international students are, I feel kind of ignorant. They're speaking multiple languages, and I'm over here with English. And I think that, to Malcolm's question earlier of just communication and the importance of that, I think it's making sure that we're effective with our communication and being simple in our teaching. I think the best teachers are the ones that you don't have to hear yourself talk. You've got to deliver your message in a succinct way that allows them to understand it and grasp it. And how do we do that? And for each of them, it's different. For the most part, they're very fluent. They have transitioned pretty well. The games are different. They've got to get used to the physicality and just some more of the athleticism. But I think as far as their skill set and some of the things that they've been asked to do, whether it be with their national team system or their club system, is probably a little more advanced in terms of basketball on a global level, of more positionless, things like that. We've got a big kid from the Ukraine that is, I think, would like to be a guard some days. And she has adept passing ability. I mean, she threw a backdoor pass Monday night, and we're like, okay, that's nice. And just ball skills and things like that maybe some of our American players don't necessarily work on every day, but it's just how they've grown up.
Successful teams usually have great leadership within the locker room. You got this many new players. Talk about the importance of G and Worm and Robin and those returners being leaders.
I think one of the things that's been really neat for me to see, and it started in conversations in postseason last year, Robin Lee just finding her voice and feeling comfortable. Robin loves to play basketball. Robin wants to be successful. She's already graduated, working on her MBA, and she's trying to become a pro. And she is working every day, whether it be with her nutrition or, she's in here in the mornings getting up extra shots. She's watching extra film. She's always been a very diligent worker, but now I think she feels like her voice is carrying some weight, and we've always felt like it had. I think she feels comfortable and confident in it now, and I think that's been really big. We have a group of people that really like basketball and like to compete, and I think that matters in this day and age. And I think when you get a group of competitive people, that they just feed off of each other. And now, granted, everybody's playing the same amount of minutes right now, and everyone's happy when that takes place. And some of those things will change, but I think for us, it's just making sure that we instill and empower them with those opportunities to lead and help with their voice. And, whether it be, our book time that we did once a week all summer, and how, just giving them opportunities to communicate and be vulnerable and share their experiences so they trust each other, and we get to know them, they get to know us, and that we understand, hey, that we're real humans that are fighting together for a common cause. I think that's important. But it's been really neat to see G, Rob, even Worm, is out for the season, but seeing her use her voice in a different way for those young post players yesterday was a great example of her being able to, just reiterate, hey, they're just asking you to defend this way. It's just do it, and when it comes from a peer, it comes across differently. And I think when you get peer leadership, it's so much more effective than just from a coach. And I think that we've gotten that, and that's been pretty cool to see.
When it comes to your non-conference schedule, what was your goal going into this season?
Well, we felt like we'd have a lot of new players. We played a lot of road games last year. You know, when we put together last year's schedule, the previous year, it was in mind of we felt like we had a group that could handle that. And, you know, you look up and Richmond, Maine, and Drake back to back to back, 3 games in a row in a 3-day period, all won their league. I think they lost maybe a combined 10 games between the 3 of them, and they were pretty good. And that's coming off a road game at Texas, who's in the Elite Eight. Like, we had some, you play Middle Tennessee 3 times. You know, they beat Louisville in the first round of the tournament. Our league is good. When we put that non-conference schedule together, we felt like we had a group that could handle it. We had lack of depth at the 4 due to injuries and some things. We had to go small in the non-conference. It just took this team a little while to figure out how to play together. And you know, sometimes that happens when you put those schedules together and things happen. You don't know that those things are going to happen. You got to learn to work through it. But we felt like we had some return games at home this year, balancing out last year's schedule. So that was kind of how that fell. But we'll go to Baylor, to TCU, and those will be 2 strong road tests. We'll have some tough in-state games at home. I think Nicholls is going to be extremely well coached for our opener, and they're going to play a matchup zone and throw some different stuff at us that they've done in the past. They'll run some Princeton actions that are tough to defend, especially with a young group early on, so we'll have to be prepared every game. I think you're seeing that across the board in college athletics. You look at football scores, you know, with Vandy beating Alabama and then, you know, playing Texas the way they did. There's more parity in the game with kids transferring and lack of consistency and continuity in rosters. That's especially early on. You better show up and compete every night.
I'll knock on wood here. I know obviously injuries were, you know, like you mentioned, a big part of last year. You know, even Amaya, Kate, I mean, Analar, obviously. I mean, going into the season, are you guys in a better spot, do you feel like, health-wise? Or?
Yeah, I mean, Mackenzie's out for the year, tore ACL second weekend of the summer, and that's a big loss just because she's your most experienced returning post player. I think we have more depth and more athleticism at the post now. Obviously, you don't replace 1,500 points and over 900 rebounds with Analar, you know, with one person. So I think it's got to be, you know, a collective effort. But I think you'll see us do some things differently than what we did schematically the last couple of years, and I think that will, you know, be dictated by our roster and our depth.
Can you just give us a little soundbite on the Education Day game and why you guys do it?
Sure. I think it's very loud, but I look back and I go, you know, some of the most impressionable people in my life were people that played college athletics or, you know, were involved in college athletics at a young age. I, you know, could look to that, and those were great examples. I think it's a tremendous opportunity for our young women and the people in our program to impart that to these young kids. This may be the only time that some of these students get to come to a college game and be in that kind of atmosphere. And if we can show some sort of passion and being a servant leader or showing some grit and toughness or just smiling and having fun doing what they love to do, we can encourage someone, and I think that's huge. That's why we do it. I think it's, you know, great encouragement and an opportunity to do that. But I think, you know, we've got a responsibility as college athletes and college coaches to make sure that we're making an impact on our community. We were out in the schools. We're going to continue to be out in the schools. These are young people that come to our camps that we see at restaurants and around town, and I think it's an opportunity to really impact. I have 2 kids, and I know what these players mean to my 2, and they see them every day, and so I think it's really important. We've always got little eyes and little ears watching everything that we do, and we want to make sure that we take advantage of that and make the most of those opportunities.
For you personally, I mean, you've been a part of this program for so long as a player and a coach. Does it ever get old for you when November rolls around and you guys get to hit the court again?
No, it's almost like Christmas. There's anticipation, there's excitement. You want to see, I think the beauty and sometimes now the difference of what we get to experience of you get to watch a group grow together. But for us, it's every year's a new year. And so when you start that first time that you get them all together for workouts or practice, and then you get to watch them grow and develop and through March, it's really exciting, and that's where you find your joy. I think we get clouded by a lot of outside stuff that if we could just show up and be around our players every day and watch them learn, watch them fail, watch them succeed, that's why we do what we do. Nobody sees that. Everybody sees the scoreboard out there, and you see that with other sports. And we as coaches, whether it be basketball, football, baseball, we all know what each other's going through because we have those daily struggles of, you know, a player's dealing with something with their family, or a player's dealing something with a class, or they're kids. They're 18 to 22 years old, and I think sometimes we all forget that, and that we need to understand that this is a very impressionable, formidable age for them, that we've got to help instill some discipline, some accountability, and, you know, they aren't just showing up on game day and going, oh, I'm going to be really successful, or I'm going to stink in front of all these people. They love Louisiana Tech. They love Ruston. They're here for a reason, and they're really fighting hard for each other. And I think the more that we can encourage that and support one another, whether it be in this community or this region, our different sports on campus, we're all in this together. And this is really, really hard every single day. And so we want to make sure that we're loving and serving our young women in a way that allows them to be successful academically, athletically, and socially. And I think we've got a group of head coaches on this campus that do the same thing every single day. And I think that's the beauty of college athletics, that we need to all remember and appreciate and continue to push forward.
Any questions from Ben or Jeremy?
I'm good.
Thanks,
All right,
Coach.
thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.